Hi, everybody. My name is Lori Williams, and I'm one of the psychologists here at University Counseling Services. I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about self-care. As you can see, I have my super calming beach scene behind me, so I'm ready to talk to you about all things self-care. It's particularly important to talk about it now during times like these when we're in the midst of a pandemic, and it's easy to lose sight of our own self-care. But what exactly is self-care? Believe it or not, that's a question I get pretty frequently. You see, self-care is one of those buzzwords that a lot of people throw around that many don't know what it actually means. So, just to make sure we're all on the same page, I'd like to start off with a quick definition. The World Health Organization defines self-care as the ability of individuals, families, and communities to promote health, prevent disease, maintain health, and to cope with illness and disability with or without the support of a healthcare provider. In simpler terms, self-care is anything a person does intentionally in order to take care of their own physical, emotional, and mental health. Self-care promotes health while also making us feel good. So that's kind of a broad concept, right? Absolutely. A lot of people seem to think self-care requires some fancy vacation or a trip to the spa. While it can include these things, self-care is about so much more than just that. It touches on everything from basic hygiene, nutrition, and sleep, to setting boundaries, to hobbies, and any other activities you do just for fun. Luckily, there are approximately 1,000,002 things you can choose from for self-care. That may be a bit of an exaggeration, but the list of activities really does seem endless. So I'm going to go over some tips and suggestions for self-care, but please know that this is not a comprehensive list by any means. So first, let's cover the basics. Sleep. Sleep can have a huge impact on how you feel, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally too. Have you ever stayed up cramming for an exam only to find that you're exhausted and grumpy the next day? And as if that's not bad enough, now you're also having a hard time even remembering what it was that you studied in the first place. There's a good chance lack of sleep is to blame for that. No one likes being tired, and we know that insufficient sleep can make us feel cranky and forgetful. So make sure you're getting a good night's sleep in order to take care of yourself. Next, eating. What you put into your body affects your general well-being. Eating balanced meals can help you feel happier, healthier, and even more alert. If you're up for it, maybe add some exercise too. Not only does exercise have physical benefits like better heart health and regulating blood pressure, it can also improve your mood and reduce anxiety and stress. Speaking of stress, this is a major issue across college campuses. The truth is, everyone experiences stress. I like to joke that no one gets through life without some level of stress. I mean, even babies cry, right? So, since stress is unfortunately so common, it's important to have stress management strategies in place. I know when I'm feeling stressed out, my go-to is listening to music. For others, it might be watching a comedy, spending some time outside, meditating, texting a friend, calling a friend, or doing something else that makes you feel good and is good for you. This next tip is one that lots of people struggle with, and that's setting boundaries for yourself and learning to say no. When people take on more tasks or responsibilities than they have the time or energy for, it can lead to burnout, which is a state of exhaustion caused by excessive stress. Have you ever felt so overwhelmed or drained by all of the things you need to do that you just kind of end up giving up? Congratulations, you've experienced burnout. Learning to say no is a great way to take care of yourself and to avoid burnout. This is usually where I get the question, but isn't self-care selfish? It might seem like it on the surface, but the answer is actually no. If you think about it, the better you take care of yourself, the better able you will be to help others. I mean, you can't give what you don't have, right? Think back to that example of the student who crammed all night for an exam. Then, Let's say that student's best friend calls wanting to vent about the really bad day they just had. Do you think that student would be a more helpful friend when they're feeling sleepy and maybe even grumpy after a night of cramming, or after a night when they got some really good sleep? I'll leave that one up to you to decide. Another way to set boundaries is to be careful with your social media habits. I've spoken to a lot of students who end up feeling anxious because of something they saw posted on social media. In this situation, it might be helpful to take a step back and look at those on your friends or following lists. Who do you follow? Do they add joy to your life? Or do they leave you feeling not so great? You might want to think about hitting that mute or unfollow button to limit your exposure. It might even be helpful to give yourself a bit of an electronics curfew and maybe put that phone away about an hour or so before bedtime. Blue light keeps you awake at night, so setting this boundary for yourself is also another good way to get some good sleep. One question I often get is, what if I don't have time for self-care? This is a valid question, but realistically speaking, even on our busiest days, we can usually carve out at least 15 minutes a day to do something that we enjoy. You know, those random 15 minutes in between classes or homework assignments, you just kind of mindlessly scroll through your phone for a little bit? Why not make that an intentional self-care break? Ideally, we should be looking at a minimum of 20 to 30 minutes, but 15 minutes is a great start. If you need to, you can even set a timer on your phone to make sure you're getting your uninterrupted self-care time. You should feel more replenished after engaging in some self-care. And who knows, maybe you can even use that newly found energy to carve out another 5 minutes. Think of self-care as a skill that needs to be practiced. You'll get better at finding time for it once you practice making the time for it in the first place. Finally, one of the hardest self-care strategies to actually implement is recognizing when you need some help and then asking for it. That's what your social support network is meant for, whether that means friends, family, significant others, or anything in between. Remember that we here at University Counseling Services are here for you too. You can give us a call Mondays through Fridays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 818-677-2366 to schedule an appointment, and we'll be happy to connect you with the help that you're looking for. Again, that number is 818-677-2366. So, to wrap up, self-care is something that we should all strive for. It's meant to replenish us, not to deplete us. So it's not supposed to feel like some major chore. Instead, it's something that's supposed to be enjoyable and give us a bit of a break from what can otherwise be a very hectic day. And remember, as long as it's not taking away from your other responsibilities and it feels good and is good for you, then it's self-care.